So surprisingly this morning we got a teaser trailer for the Fantastic Four First Steps. And the only reason I'm saying it's surprising that we got it this morning, considering I saw the big live stream thing they were doing. I mean, I didn't watch it, but I saw it was counting down the trailer, so that wasn't what surprised me. What surprised me was the fact that I was assuming they were waiting for the Super Bowl for this trailer, which is in like 5 days. So I'm surprised they decided to drop it today. Did they decide to drop it because today's February 4th? I don't really know, but regardless, we now have a teaser for the movie. And I will say this. All this has to do is be the best Fantastic Four film, and it'll get a pass from most people. Because we've had 4 Fantastic Four movies so far. The 90s film was made on a budget of $1 million, and even in 94 that was nothing. So that one, and that was mostly made to retain the rights anyway, which apparently has been the excuse for every single version of this franchise, though, to be fair, but whatever. But then you have the 2005 movie, which is fine. It's not good. It's not a bad movie, but it's just whatever. And Rise of the Silver Surfer, I really liked when I was younger, but I've rewatched recently, and it's not good. It's, again, it's not horrendous, but it's not a good film either. And then the 2015 film came around and was an absolute garbage fire. And the reason I brought up that this new one has to do is be the best Fantastic Four film, think back to when that 2015 movie came out. What were some of the big and, let's say, best superhero films that came out around that time? It was movies like The Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Iron Man, The Winter Soldier. Those were the kind of, or X-Men Days of Future Past. Those were the big ones that had come out around that time. It didn't have to be that level of quality. All it had to do, really, was be better than the 2005 movie, and it couldn't even accomplish that, which is part of the reason why I think that movie is so reviled. Personally, I think it's still a really awful movie. I don't think it's... People put it as, like, bottom 5 comic book film. I don't think that's fair when movies like Elektra, Son of the Mask, Batman and Robin, Catwoman, movies like those exist. I don't think it's fair to put Four Stick at the bottom, but it's really bad. And this is what a teaser trailer should be. It gave us just enough without completely spoiling the movie. We got to see the team in action. I did not expect Herbie to be in this movie. I actually didn't. When he showed up in the trailer, I actually went, oh shit. Because if you don't know, Herbie was a robot that replaced Johnny Storm in one of the, I want to say the 80s show? There was one in the 70s, one in the 80s, one in the 90s, one in the 2000s. One of those had Herbie replace Johnny Storm due to rights issues. So I did not expect him to be, and though Herbie was annoying as fuck in that show, so I'm hoping they tone him down in this movie. So I did not expect Herbie to be in this movie. But we get to see all the members of the Fantastic Four. We get to see them all use their powers. It seems like what they're doing with this movie, they're trying to overcompensate for what the other movies failed to do. And it's treat the Fantastic Four like a family. Because that's something that the other films really failed at doing. The 2005 movie and Rise of the Silver Surfer, they tried in that aspect and everything. They seemed more like a dysfunctional family, but they at least tried in that regard. They just didn't do the best job. And 2015, it just felt like co-workers who barely knew each other. Although I will say the first half of the movie did a much better job of having these characters interact and feel like at least decent acquaintances for the first 45 minutes of the movie before throwing it out the window. So it really seems like they're doubling down on trying to make these 4 feel like Marvel's first family. And I know this, and I know somebody's going to bring it up in the comments if I don't, just because I didn't bring it up. But yes, this is supposed to be a different universe from the traditional 616 universe that the MCU has been residing in since Iron Man. And I have a feeling it's partially because they really wanted to do Galactus in this movie, who does appear in the teaser, and he looks pretty cool. I mean, we only see the back of his head, really. But he looks pretty cool. I have it in the corner of the thumbnail if you didn't notice. So he looks pretty cool, and he looks a lot better than the stupid gas cloud we got in Rise of the Silver Surfer. I still don't know what the logic was there, but whatever. movie's been out for almost 20 years at this point, so there's nothing you can do about it. But we don't see Silver Surfer, which is interesting, which I'm kind of okay with, because they used one of the lesser-known ones just so they could get a female one. Because why use the one people actually like? I don't know. And I will say, the only thing that concerns me about this being a different universe is that the only time we've seen the MCU do something that specifically revolves around one different universe, not including the what if stuff, came out last week with Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. And, gross. But this looks legitimately good. And I say, I've still liked what the MCU has put out the last few years. There's been stuff I didn't like, obviously. Like, I freaking hated Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. She-Hulk was terrible. The Marvels wasn't very good. But the movies that come out this year, which are this film, Captain America Brave New World, and Thunderbolts, despite Brave New World having some PR issues with Anthony Mackie saying some really stupid shit, the movie still looks pretty good. And Thunderbolts looks like it could be a lot of fun. It's kind of looking like what Suicide Squad should have been. And I think this movie could be really good. Again, my only gripe is Pedro Pascal as Mr. Fantastic. I'm sure he'll do fine, but just in my head, it's hard. I'm not saying he's automatically going to suck in this role, because the MCU, usually when they have, like, really, that's what they went with, it ends up working out. Like, do I need to remind you guys that back in the day when they casted people like Chris Hemsworth as Thor, a lot of the reaction was, who? Because he was not well known back in the day. And now he's one of the best casted comic book characters of all time. And so I think he'll do fine, but again, it's just hard for me to wrap my head around, like, really, this guy as Reed Richards? But again, I'm sure he'll do fine. Vanessa Kirby and Joseph Quinn look like they're perfectly cast in their role. The guy who plays Ben, I don't really know who he is, but he looks, and I like how the Thing looks in this movie. It was a little weird. It threw me off him being the same size as the rest, because the last movie we got, he was like 10 feet tall and I will say he looked pretty badass in that movie. I like how that was one of the few things I liked about that film, is how the Thing looked, where the CGI actually looked really good. He looked really imposing and everything, compared to the rubber suit we got in the first few movies, which looked fine for the time, but looks pretty dated now. This one feels like it's a good in-between. I know it's a practical suit, because I've seen behind the scenes, or I saw like a leaked photo that had it. So it looks like it's a combo of some kind of practical suit and CGI. So it seems like they're trying to split the difference, and it looks like they did a fantastic job. Yes, that pun was intentional. So I have very high hopes for this film. I estimated this might be the weakest of the three MCU films at first. I'm thinking this one might end up being the best. I had this, like, on my ranking for the year. I had this around the 3 or 4 range. This might get jumped to number 1 for anticipation, because I am very much looking forward to this movie when it comes out in July. And yeah, that's all I got. What do you guys think of this Fantastic Four trailer? Did you even know it came out until I posted this? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.